What's up, everybody? Birds in the Trap MMA, back at it again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about my dream UFC card, okay? Either the Birds Fighting Championship, okay, for the channel, or the Trappin' Fighting Championship. Alright, just to play on the channel name. But, I put UFC 300 here because I feel like it'll look good in the thumbnail. And a lot of the fighters that we see here on this image aren't on the card, but I had to throw them in there so that not all the fighters are revealed or the fights I have picked. But with that being said, this is my dream card. And before we get into this, I'm just going to say, look, this is prime versus prime, okay? This is everyone's peak versus peak, okay? And I'll explain my fights. And yeah, prime versus prime. I'll even explain when I would want them to happen. Okay. Oh, I don't know why that's like that, but first things first, this is going to be in Madison Square Garden, okay? It just is. It's going to be the November card in Madison Square Garden because this card is fucking stacked. Like I said in the first image, this is a pretty unreasonable card and we'll probably never get this. But this is a dream card, okay? No limits, no limits. Alright, we're doing 3 prelim fights, okay? One of them is ranked, and then the other 2 aren't ranked, but they are some banger fights, okay? First things first. Kai Kara France versus Alex Perez, okay? These guys are both ranked in the flyweight division. They were supposed to fight on UFC 284. So let's remake it for this one, Good fight, and it's a good fight. It's an entertaining one. I would favor Kai Kara France. And, yeah, I would love to see it. It'd be a good prelim headliner. They're both highly ranked. And, title shot implications, Next up, Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. Let me explain why. Okay? I know this is kind of out there, but, this is my dream card, okay? Which also means I'm going to include my dream scenario, okay? Which is Tony, old as fuck, washed up, beyond his prime, versus Paddy Pimblett, okay, who was looking to be the new star for a while, but really got exposed in his last fight, so I'm like, you know what, let's make this fight. We'll either give Paddy a good win on his resume, or Tony a good comeback fight, a winnable comeback fight, because Paddy looked super beatable in his last fight against Jared Gordon. Alright, so just imagine that, Tony Ferguson coming back for one last win, and he just fucks over Paddy Pimblett. And let's say he puts on a classic Tony performance, really slices him up, that's a banger. That's a banger, Next up, Darren Till versus Nick Diaz, okay? We can do this fight. We can do it. And we can do it, like, they both, how long does Till not want to fight? You know what I mean? Because Nick Diaz seems pretty down to get in there pretty soon. I don't know about Darren Till, but, this one can still actually happen. This isn't even like a dream card matchup. This can be a real thing. But I would love to see it. Good strikers. And, these all could be prelim headliners. But, I think if you do Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett, and then Darren Till versus Nick Diaz, and then Kai Kara France versus Alex Perez, just because they're ranked. That would be the order for these prelims. And then before these, it can be the random fighters that the UFC has to put. Alright, next. Main card opener. What do we got? Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa, okay? This fight was supposed to happen. This fight should have been done by now, but it's not, But I feel like it's the perfect main card opener for this. Taking place in the middleweight division. Both guys entertaining. Robert Whittaker, one of my favorite fighters. Paulo Costa, always funny. And I feel like it'd be a good fight, too. I feel like it could be pretty competitive, but of course, Robert Whittaker wins this fight. So that's my main card opener. So that's just the opener, man. That would have been like, what, the featured fight on 284? That's just the opener, And this is a banger fight. That can still reasonably happen, okay? Now, next up. We got Sean O'Malley versus Prime Dominic Cruz, okay? Look, it would be a striking... Dude, come on. And, do I even have to explain? This would be a fun-ass fight. You know what I mean? Both I mean, Sean O'Malley, probably still hasn't peaked yet, hopefully. So, he's like still reaching prime form. And then Dominic Cruz, we've seen the best of him, and him at his best is amazing, So this would just be a fun on the feet fight. The footwork, it would be fun to see what they do against each other, and just a great striking fight. I feel like any UFC fight fan would want to see this shit. And this is only the second main card fight, and this is like, I feel like this could be a pay-per-view co-main event, and this is only the second main card fight here. So that's the shit, and this could be a fight night headliner, and it'd be an awesome fight. Next up, by the way, I forgot to mention this. This main card is 6 fights, okay? This is 6. So the next one we have here, look, this one's kind of out there, okay? I know. Hear me out, okay? Bing, bong, bing. Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway, okay? This fight has happened before, but that was before both guys were really good, and Charles quit in the fight, you know what I mean? But this fight now, I don't know why Max is fighting Allen at featherweight. I feel like he should take the time to bulk up to 55 and try and get a run going at 55, because I don't know what he really has left to prove at featherweight, man. And if he were to move up, this is a great fight that I would love to see. They have history. They both look badass. And just, dude, tell me you don't want to see this fight. Like, this is a fun fight. I do favor Charles. All right? So that's our third main card fight. This is a banger card already. This is my dream card, okay? So, of course, it's a banger. Next up. All right. This is for the UFC Middleweight Championship, okay? If I could have had it my way, this probably would have happened in 2012, okay? Maybe 2011, maybe 2013, but probably 2012, okay? And it's the old belt on purpose, because we're doing bing, bong, bing. George St. Pierre versus Anderson Silva for the Middleweight Championship, okay? I know. Total fantasy matchup. But, dude, this is the original Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. The number 1, number 2 pound-for-pound fighters fighting. These guys, tell me it wouldn't be incredible. You know what I mean? Even if it was a catchweight fight, like 178. I'm still watching that shit. And it could be for the middleweight title. I'm still watching that shit. Take my money. You know what I mean? And especially on this card, this is a 3 million pay-per-view card. 3 million buys, okay? That's the featured fight, okay? This is like a main event. Well, clearly it's a main event. All right. Next up, co-main event for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. John Jones versus Francis Ngannou. Okay, this one was so close, but this is a dream fight, man. This is one of those ones that got away. We got to put it up there in that category of the Khabib and Tony fight. You know what I mean? It's gone. It's too far gone. But man, I would have loved to see it. Would have loved to see Ngannou knock Jones out. Hey, I'm just playing. That's kind of bold. Okay, but still, would have been great on this card. That's the co-main event. Okay, the main event. All right, hear me out. Okay, I know it's kind of obvious. Well, I don't know if it's obvious, but okay, it's McGregor and Masvidal. Okay. For the BMF title, okay? Now, look, I know some people don't love that BMF title, and I don't blame you for not liking it. It's cool for not, like it's cool if you don't like it, But we can do it here because it's not going to be for the welterweight championship. And, of course, McGregor can be the main event, but if there's no title, then it, one of the other fights should be the main event. But we need McGregor as the main event for them pay-per-views, okay? Now, ideally, this fight would have happened at UFC 246, okay? Donald Cerrone should have been Masvidal, okay? That's when this fight should have happened, because McGregor, he was just coming back, he looked like he was in a great mindset in that whole build-up, and Masvidal was on top of the world, he just won that BMF belt like a few months before, so it would have been a quick turnaround, but. Look, it doesn't even have to be that card, but, around that time. January up until, I don't know. because in this timeline, you know, the Usman fights would have never happened for Masvidal. But look, I would want to see this fight. I would favor Conor. You know, I would. I'm sorry, I would. But yeah, this would be my main event for UFC 300 / BFC / TFC. And you know, this was a really fun video to put together. Like, I really enjoyed choosing the fights, and I'm totally like planning to make more of these. So, you know, we'll do some more dream fights. We'll do we'll do like matchup like themes, you know, like, I don't know. I'll work on it, guys. But if you watch this video, thank you for watching. I appreciate everyone supporting the channel. I hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, see you in the next one.